welcome back. Welcome back. You are still tuned in to Funtastic Fridays, and we're in the segment called Talk the Ting with Kim. The discussion today, we're talking about things to consider before and basically entering or purchasing real estate, right? We have Miss Tiffany Gray in studio with us, and I'm telling you guys, if you're just joining, you missed a whole lot, but that's fine because every single Talk the Ting with Kim episode is recorded and shared on our YouTube channel. So if you missed something, if we're going a bit too fast and you want to play it again, you want to be able to take notes after, just know that it will be recorded and it will be shown on our YouTube channel, right? So before the break, we're talking about, what real estate is, how you got into real estate, things to consider before, the whole financing, the whole, budgeting, saving, having a plan. You don't just get up tomorrow and say, you know what? I want to purchase a house today. It doesn't work like that, right? So it's things that you want to put into place. And one of the questions that I was asking before the break is, what are some of the most common mistakes that especially first-time home buyers tend to make, and how do we avoid them?
We avoid them by planning.
Planning,
right? Planning is avoiding them, right?
Yeah.
And the mistakes is, setting your budget too high that you can't afford, right? Because you don't want to buy a home and then lose it 3 months later, right? Or however months later.
Yeah.
So not planning.
So that's the biggest thing.
That's the biggest thing.
You have to plan.
Fail to plan.
Right.
Not knowing about your credits. Right. Not knowing about your finance.
Right.
Not saving.
Not saving.
Yeah.
Those are the four things.
Those are the four things.
And those are the four pillars that we're looking at, people. Those are the four pillars of real estate.
Yes.
And
if you're a first time buyer, right? And if you're a first time buyer, my tip to you guys is to buy something that's going to be that's going to bring cash flow to you. Because don't go off and say, I'm just going to buy my dream home the first go around.
So, you can give me an idea. What you mean, like saying buy something that's going to be a cash flow? What?
Like, okay, so even if you buy like a single family residence, right? And let's say you buy a 3-bedroom, 2.5 bath or 3 bath. Maybe turn 2 of the rooms in Airbnb.
Okay.
And you live in one. But if you have a family, then turn one of the rooms in your Airbnb.
So find some way for it to generate
some income. Or if you're an entrepreneur, run your business out of there, and then your business pay your mortgage. You just have to think outside the box, be creative. Yes.
To be honest, I think I've seen that happening a lot in the market because most places that you're renting now is always a half a house. Yeah. So most times the landlord or the landlady, they live in one side, and I realize it's gotten more and more common over the years. Yeah. So I'm actually thinking that is one of the things that more persons have been tapping into, right? Basically renting out the other side of the house. So that's something to consider. But you were saying as well that they need to plan first and foremost. It's a big decision, right?
It's a big decision. It's a life commitment.
It's a life. It's a house,
right? If you're getting a mortgage, right? I think the lowest mortgage out here is about 15 years. Yeah, 15 years to 30 years, right? That's a big commitment, right? Some people don't even commit to a relationship.
No,
it's true. It's true, though.
Definitely not. So that's definitely a big move for you.
Yes.
All right. So what I would want to know is, like, how do you know that you are ready? How do you know that you are ready? What feeling do you get, or what boxes do you check off to know that you're ready?
Well, to know that you're ready, you need a place to live.
Yeah.
Right. You need a place to live. And if you put in your mental that, okay, I need a place to live. Right. I could rent a place, right? But guess what I'm doing? I'm building somebody else's legacy, right? Yeah. So if you need a shelter, if you out of your parents' house or whatever, your guardian house or whatnot, you're ready. Yeah. You're ready. Because if you could rent, you could buy. You just haven't planned it right.
Well, you see, I love that she mentioned that, because that's a point that I saw on social media at one point. They were saying that when you work out how much rent is per month, it's more expensive than a mortgage.
Exactly.
But it's just the whole process of being able to even buy a house is so difficult. So it's like they make it so difficult, say that you don't have enough money to buy the house, but then we're paying rent 2-3 times whatever mortgage would be.
Right.
Like it doesn't, add up.
Right.
So, no, I would just say it doesn't add up. So if it is that we're paying half the amount in mortgage, make mortgaging easier. Let the process, work a bit better for persons, because as I said, I think it's the down payment that most people struggle with.
Not only
Right,
that,
but then you have the NHT.
yeah, but not only down payment, not only the access to NHT. It's basically something that we did not learn.
Yeah, it wasn't ingrained in
our
our
schooling. We go to school, we learn about maths, English, all these things. Governments from 1,000 different countries.
Yeah.
And then when we are 20, we only hear somebody say, you need somewhere to live now.
Yeah.
Nobody told us about interest rates.
Or to
Nobody
plan.
told us how much the housing market is.
Yeah.
At some point, we didn't even know how long does the mortgage take, what we need for an application. As I said,
Or that the younger you are, the better.
exactly. So these things, they're thinking in our head that, okay, when
I'm 50
30,
or 40,
buy a house. When the bank is basically, or opportunities actually telling us that, hey, at 20, you probably have a better opportunity.
Yeah.
But we never know that. We take the money and we rent.
Yeah.
I bought my first house at 19 years old.
Oh,
Wow.
At 19 years old. But you're right. We're not taught that.
Yeah.
We're not taught about credit. We're not taught financial literacy.
No.
Not in school, not at home.
Yeah.
Right? But at the same time, it's a different era. So
Right.
we can't keep on going back in the
Right.
past,
Yeah.
right? And that's where we come in at TMG Realty. We educate.
Yeah.
So we have seminars for financial awareness, credit awareness, stuff like that. That's how I help the masses.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is by educating them, because we're not taught that. So you could buy a home at the age of 18.
Yeah.
You could be planning it while you're in your parents' house, how you're going to facilitate purchasing a home, but you need that knowledge. And that's why we have to reach our youth now, right? And that's the whole purpose of my school, Tiny Footprints Academy,
Yeah.
that I'm going to bring to Jamaica as well.
I love
Because
it.
we have to
Yeah,
pour into our youth.
Yeah.
We have to educate them, because they are our future, you know?
We have to change the cycle.
And
Yeah.
change the
A lot of
mentality.
persons change the mentality. A lot of persons, as soon as they get the chance, they're thinking, oh, I'm going to go on my own.
Yeah.
They're not thinking about, I'm going to own my home.
Yeah.
I want to set up my mortgage. I want to invest in property.
No.
And that's one thing, I'm going on my own. So,
Right.
the first thing they do, look a place to rent.
Yes, and
Yeah.
a flashy car and flashy clothes
Yeah.
and
If you set up yourself with a proper property that you can earn from,
Mhm.
you could get
those
all of
things
that.
will come in the
Because
end.
those are
Eventually.
liability. The asset will fund those liabilities
Right now
for
we're
you.
driving around and we're in a place, we don't
But
own the car.
I like that you mentioned the driving our own
no
part.
ownership of anything.
Anything,
But
right.
we look like we're living a life.
Yes.
And 10, 15 years down the line, we're going to be like, hey, son, we're going to have to move out to the house because they have another person buying the property.
Yeah.
And we have to find somewhere else to move to.
Well, I like that you mentioned the driving our own part, because this is a common discussion, I believe, especially in Jamaican culture, when persons are considering to buy a vehicle
Versus
versus a house. So you usually have, especially the older generation, saying, no, don't spend your money in a car, buy a house first. But then most persons are saying, but I need immediate convenience. I need to be able to get around. I need to be able to do all that.
Yeah.
At 19, did you purchase the house first or the car first? And what do you recommend in terms of? Yeah, you see, valid.
No, at 19. No, at 19. No, I didn't have a car at 16. I did purchase my first car. I bought it cash.
Uh-huh.
It was a little,
Yeah, you're doing your work. You're working.
Right, but it wasn't no big fancy
Yeah.
car.
Right.
I didn't get the
There's something to
fancy
get around.
there's something to get me around, right? Yeah, I can even tell you, I purchased a 1989 Nissan Maxima, right? But it had sounds in it. I was beeping down the road, right? Yes. So, but once I purchased my first property, then I purchased the luxury car, right? But at the same time, I wasn't taught as a kid how to do all these things.
Yeah.
I went out and seek that knowledge myself.
Right.
I got books
Yeah.
that educated me about financial, about credit. Like, I remember the first book I got was Rags to Real Estate Riches. I'm like, okay, this sounds good. I could buy properties, build wealth through real estate. But what is this credit they talking about?
Right.
Can me as a black woman get credit in, white people world? I don't know about
No, it's a reality. No, it's a reality.
Because that's one of the factors as well. If you look at it, depending on where you're at, those are things that they're actually considering.
And we weren't allowed once upon a time to,
Right.
own real estate. So that's actually a very valid point.
Right. So as parents, I would say parents that's listening, educate your children. Tell them about credit. help set them up.
Yeah.
You know, teach them about saving. You know, if you give them allowance, make sure they save. Like I made my children sign contracts. Like if you're gonna get this allowance, you gotta save this.
Yeah.
And if you don't save this, your allowance, you're gonna revoke your allowance.
Yeah, you're not using it wisely.
Right.
You don't need all of
You
that.
don't need it.
Yeah.
So you have to train them from young. It's not wrong, you know.
Mm-hmm.
You train them.
So you do a parenting seminar as well, right?
Yes.
Because no, but that's it. All right, as I tell you, people, we don't learn these things throughout our youth. We just grow up, and at one point we're 25, and we're supposed to know how to
figure it out. Yeah.
a house and do all of that stuff.
We're supposed to know how to adult.
Right.
If we can change this narrative, I know rule one is out there for us to go and find the information, but we know how the internet is. You go on somebody's page. I don't know how long they've been a realtor, but they're going to tell you this is that, this is that. Everybody is giving advice now.
Yeah.
Right.
They don't even probably have experience or knowledge or even did whatever they're talking about. But everybody on social media is giving advice.
Right.
So how we know we're getting stuff from the good source? Where do we go?
Well, the person that's giving this advice, they have to go through it themselves.
Yeah.
How can you give advice if you haven't experienced it? Right? I mean, I live and breathe what I'm telling you. I've experienced it. I started in this game since 19 years old. You know, I've been through the ups and downs. I've been through the market crashing. I've been through the pandemic. I've been through it all. That's why I was able to write that book, because it's different levels to reversing turmoil, you know, different levels to trauma. When you think you have something figured out, you really, when you get to the next level, it's something new that you got to figure out. So I'm speaking from experience. That's why I can speak from the heart. I'm not reading a script or nothing like that. I'm speaking from experience.
What you've been through.
What I've been through.
People,
and what I've built.
I tell you, people, listen to me. Fantastic Fridays will always know how to get the source. We'll get to the what do you call it now? When you have persons that are certified.
Yeah, man. We try to find the best of the best to come and talk on the topics. And another aspect of the topic I'd like to talk about, because I think the biggest concern or the most questions we ask is about financing. But how about when it comes to choosing the house? Because there are certain rules I'm hearing. Yeah. I've been on one Instagram live that was talking about, and somebody was saying, hey, even drive past the house at night when it's raining, check it out, because you don't want to necessarily buy a quote unquote puss in a bag where you don't know what's happening. You just see the house looks pretty, you toured it once, and you're like, yeah, this is my place. They're like, no, go back, see what it looks like at night, see how dark the streets are, all of that. Like, what are some, when it comes to choosing the places that you, or the place that you want to purchase, what are some rules, what are some guidelines that you can share?
Location is key. Because location will tell you how your equity is going to grow. Right? Is it going to be slow, or it's going to be like a steady pace? Right? So location is number one. And location is number two. Number three.
But location also costs more. So most people like to go further because it's cheaper, but you're saying that's not the wisest?
Well, if you're going to go further, right, then you think about schools. What school district is the property in, right? You think about transportation, because you want people to be able to get around. So is it close to a bus line? Stuff like that.
Okay. You see, people even think about that, because most people, as I said, most of us will just pick a place, then we figure out the rest from there.
But like, what about, so you said about location, that's the external aspect of things, right? But what would you say about the internal? Because I know, like, even I'm renting somewhere, my mom told me, check the outlets, check this, check that. Is there anything that we should be looking for in the houses?
Yeah, but that's why you hired a professional.
Okay.
Right, because you're not going to see everything with the naked eye.
You're not an electrician.
Right. So you get an inspector. Before you buy anything, you have a due diligence period, right? And during those due diligence period, you get the property inspected. Once you get that inspection report, you're going to review it with a fine-tooth comb, right? If something is wrong with the foundation, you back out. Because that's going to cost a lot. But if it's something minor, it's outlets and stuff like that, and if you have a knowledgeable salesperson or dealer, that's their job to negotiate on your behalf. Look, seller, this is wrong with your property. What are you going to do to help my client? Can you fix X, Y, and D? Stuff like that.
So basically, use the resources that are there. So you're going to buy a house, don't just go there, pick the house, and sign off your life. Right? Do your checks. Get the certified persons who are to come and do the checks. and
go through the information. Because that's one thing that we're like, oh, he checked it, okay, it's fine. Yeah. No, go through.
And your agent should be able to go through it with you.
Yeah,
that's your job. They should be on your side, absolutely. And then the bank protects himself, you know.
Yeah.
The bank definitely get an appraisal report. Yeah. The appraisal tells the bank if the seller is overcharging or if the price is right. So those are things.
So basically, you should have that network that should be working with you then.
Correct.
So you shouldn't be afraid of those people. Mm-hmm. Don't be afraid of those people. Right. Check the bank, because really and truly, the bank will look at the property. Bank will say, listen, we don't feel like investing in this one with you here. And that must be a sign for you to say, probably, I should be looking elsewhere.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I like that. Because these are some of the fears people think that they're going to be out there all by themselves. So these things.
No, that's why you hired the professional. That's why the professional is here.
That's why you call Tiffany.
Yes. At TAMG Realty all day long.
All right, so do you operate in Jamaica or?
Absolutely, yes.
TAMG operates.
It's operating on 31 Balmoral Avenue. That's where our location is. And that's where also the call center, Dynamic Duo. Yeah. And Dynamic Duo is a call center that helps not only big businesses or whatever, entrepreneurs. Yeah. Entrepreneurs that have their business going and they're working in their business on an everyday thing, right? You need to learn how to scale your business. Right. Like I told you how many business I have, right? Yeah. But guess where I'm sitting?
All right.
Yeah.
All right. That tells you I have scaled it, right? Yeah. So Dynamic Duo is here to serve Jamaica to help all entrepreneurs scale their business. You're going to have a dynamic partner that will be your virtual assistant. That could be your CMO, which is your marketing operator, right? Could be your CFO. We could do it all for you.
Right.
So you got to scale because you don't want to burn yourself out. Right. I've been burnt out, right?
And you figured out that that's not the life for you.
Right, right. I want to have a balanced life. I have children that I got to tend to. Right. So if I'm in my business 24/7, they're going to be lacking. They're not going to have that touch, right? Yeah, and you can't have strangers raising your children.
No.
And she's definitely showing that. Yeah, she's been with you, through
thick and thin.
She's right by your side, and that shows that if running a business, you might end up having to stay away from the kids, and you don't want that.
You don't want that. Okay, yes. That's why you gotta call Dynamic Duo. Let us scale your business for you.
And you said TAMG
Realty, and TAMG Realty stands for the meaning, the apparent manifestation of God.
You know what I thought it stands for?
Tiffany Gray.
I thought that AM were her middle initials.
Alexandra Marie Gray.
I figured AM was just her middle initials. I had Tiffany Gray.
Yeah, I was coming up with middle names for you. But go ahead with it again. I need them to know.
The apparent manifestation of God.
Listen to me. I used to people, I like that. People, you got to connect to the source. You got to have some spiritual connection to know how to live positively.
Yeah.
If you follow the Berlin of people, the world will tell us, don't have money, stress, and figure out what tomorrow.
And that's what many of us are doing.
That's what we do, because that's what we see. That's what we're used to. But if you realize that people who are, connected, who are focused, who take that time,
who tend to be doing well,
you get more practice in planning, to prepare. Usually on time. Tiffany was about an hour early.
Listen, Tiffany was ready. Tiffany was ready.
This shows, and then these persons will be able to not only just live their life, they're going to be managing multiple opportunities, and that is how nobody does look for people. I said, why? Oh, they might do it, oh, they're rich, oh, they might build wealth. You can do it too, but it's going to take time. It's going to take a change of mindset. Wait, why? Tiffany,
man, change the mental, right?
And get,
But before we wrap up, I have two more questions, right, Tiffany?
Yeah.
I would like to know, are there any trends or developments currently in the real estate market that buyers should be aware of?
Yeah.
Because I don't know we just hear about real estate market. We don't know. We always hear if it's high or low. It's high or low now. Which one? I don't know.
It's high right now. It's definitely high. But some trends that's going on is like containers. People are doing containers, right? In Jamaica, tourists is a big deal. Airbnb is a big deal in Jamaica, and then you guys don't know this, but once you start building wealth in real estate, you could buy properties in other countries.
Yeah.
I'm a foreigner. You know, I can help you. I'm licensed in 8 states.
Okay.
So we ain't gonna just stop one place.
Right.
We're gonna be international.
Yeah, because if you have probably you say, okay, well, you know, in case, for example, Jamaica gets quiet for 5 seconds, you don't have to worry because you have a property in another
in
country.
the US yeah.
Right.
Oh,
Right.
okay.
Diversify your portfolio so your portfolio work for you even when you sleep.
Would you say that it's more difficult or easier?
Yeah,
Jamaica versus internationally when it comes to purchasing a home?
It's a little bit more easier, but I mean
Easy
anything.
in Jamaica?
No, in the States.
okay.
Yeah.
But I mean, you will have to have more down payment because the foreign national
Yeah.
off the back is 20% down payment.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right? So no buts. It's
Okay.
no buts at all. So I would say it's the same across the board.
Yeah.
You know, it may cost you a little bit more, but if you're planning, right, and purchasing your property here, making that work for you, then the money that you make, that you save, you could go out and buy more property, right? And then when you buy more properties, that's more money coming into you, and then you can also sell too when it's that time. But real estate is pretty much the holding game.
Yeah.
That's one tip: hold as long as you can.
Right. Be the owner. You don't want to sell. You keep because
The longer you hold it,
income such as leases, rent, those are, you know, constantly coming in.
Right.
So
Right.
when it's
because I know persons who have probably purchased a home within the last 5 years, and their home is worth probably 2 or 3 times what they spend.
because you're holding it.
Yeah.
Right.
So the longer you hold it, the better.
Yes.
I'm not sure if you're probably, because I think this came up during a construction video I was watching. I've heard about like the foam concrete or something.
Yes.
Like You've heard about that, or
I've heard about it.
Is it any different?
Any
or
feedback
something
on that?
Away from, or it's just another option.
It's just
from you?
It's just another thing that they're doing, that they're trying to cut costs or make things a little bit fancier, easier on the builders and stuff like that.
Okay, so just another
it's
option.
just another option.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So people see you have more options out there. Probably
Yes.
if you're not going for the high end, you can probably check out these other options. But at the end of the day, you still have to do diligence.
And
So when they sell this place,
plan.
Call your contractor, call your person.
Yes.
Don't just believe the people.
Do your research. Do your research.
Get your survey, everything. Do your research.
Yeah.
You know, trust your agents. Because their agents are working for you. They have a fiduciary duty for you.
Yeah.
But I think that's another concern. Most persons always feel like, okay, when you get an agent or so, they're just gonna work out the best income for them.
Yeah, all about the quick sale.
Then that agent is not for you.
Yeah.
So you do your homework with your agents too. Have questions. You know, I could give you guys a list of questions on the next go around.
Yeah.
But have questions to ask.
Yeah.
Just don't get in bed with anybody. Right?
Yeah.
Ask questions. Do your due diligence with the people you're hiring as well.
Yeah.
You know, your agent have to have your best interest because it's not transactional. Right? Some agent might be transactional. I'm not a transactional person.
Yeah.
I'm the type that build well. I mean,
She sounds like she'll come and check up on you. How is the house doing 2 years?
Yeah.
right? You got to build that long-lasting relationship.
Because you might get a second buyer again. Yeah.
Right, because word of mouth is better than regular marketing to me. I mean, I've been in the game for a very long time, and I get more word of mouth than anything because I care about my clients.
Yeah.
Like I don't know if I said this earlier, but if I don't see that spark in their eyes, then we're not buying that house.
Okay.
You know, you're not gonna settle.
You want them to be happy.
I want them to be happy. I want you to be happy. So if I don't feel that this is the house for you, let's keep looking.
Yeah.
You know, most agents probably like, oh no, you gotta sign this contract. Let's get this closed. I gotta make this money. No, it's not about that. It's about pleasing your clients, satisfying them, because remember, they're the novice, right? And you're the expert. Just like when you go to a doctor, the doctor's supposed to be an expert. The doctor should know what's wrong with you when you don't. Right? Same with the agent, right?
I like that. Well, I know that we've shared a lot of information and we're wrapping up the interview now, but if there were 3 things that if we didn't take anything else from everything we've discussed, 3 things that you'd love us to take with us, what are they?
Mental is key. Yes. Change your mental, because then it will change your outcome. Plan. Plan. Right? And 3, execute. Even if it's small steps. Take small steps. You know, you might can't buy tomorrow, but like you said earlier, 10 years come by fast.
Yeah.
So 1 year come even faster, right?
Yeah.
I can't buy tomorrow, but you could buy in 1 year. Or you could buy in 6 months.
Yeah.
But you have to put it on paper and have a plan.
I love it.
So how can persons reach you, Tiffany? How can they connect with you?
So they can reach me on all my social handlers. My personal is I am Tiffany Gray. Then we have TAMG Realty. We have Dynamic Duo. We have Tiny Footprints Academy. Or you can call the office at Dynamic Duo 876-990-2370. Call that number 876-990-2370, and we'll be at your service.
I love it.
People, no, sir. Right now, I feel like we can walk in any real estate.
Yeah, man. I feel like before the year done, I'll be going to TAMG, and it's not for her name. And her name is not Alexandra Marie. All right, we learn all that as well. Yeah. But for real, no, I think it's very inspiring. I have to say thank you for sharing the wealth of knowledge, all the information. Don't worry, we're going to have our own too, because I want to hear those questions that we need to be asking. Because I think a lot of us, we don't know what direction to go, so we just try, and that's fine, but you also need some guidance, so we'd love to have our own too. So we discussed that, but I have to say thank you.
Thank you. It was a pleasure and an honor.
People are alive. Give a round of applause. Don't be listening on the radio. I want to clap for me. I'm gonna hear it. I'm listening out. People, as we come to the end of the show, definitely want to thank Kim for guiding us through that segment. Tiffany, wonderful information, and she give it to me simply, I know the people love come talk. All you got to do.
I use big word and all, and something there.
All you got to do is buy 5 properties before you're 21 and you're rich.
No, she broke it down and I loved it.
MV is soon investor as well, because he might look out there.
The traveling resident. Yeah.
He travels a lot, so he's going to know what's happening in the market. People, I want to thank all the guests that came through today. The team from
Digitimes,
the team from the
Agri Brown Distinguished Lecture, the Road Olympics team,
Irish Soldier. Bless up to everybody.
And Miss Tiffany Gray.
And Tiffany Gray. And the team out there, TMG. Have a fantastic Friday.
Have a good one.
Next week.
Be safe until next week.
Everywhere.